Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Hit like and subscribe. Actually, just hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Just kidding.
What?
Anyway, listen, man. I want to talk about athletes' prime today. So I might ramble a little bit. I'm gonna try to be concise. This is just something that's off the top of my head. I don't have a script or anything. I was just thinking about this, right? I was watching some wrestling, Aaron Brooks, Conor Mersola match, and I was just thinking about an athlete's prime. And I know it's a subjective term because there's no real real time, frame that we can say, oh, everybody's prime is from age 20 to 30, right, in sports, or 18 to 28, or 18 to 34, right? It's different, and it's very subjective, right? It's based on the a lot of it's based on the so-called eye test, if you will. Real quick, I just want to show you this beautiful setup right here by Aaron Brooks. That's why I have it on, and then we'll get right back into the prime. Right, I'm gonna have it in slow motion because the real time, man, it was just so fast. But check this out, right? So he's gonna snap Merasola's head down twice, but the first time is almost just like a distraction. So check it out. This is beautiful. So he snaps his head down violently, and of course, snaps it down again, and then goes right for the legs. And then he secures the takedown. Now, to me, that's beautiful, right? That's that high level wrestling. Because if you think about it, after getting your head violently snapped down like that, your reaction is to what? Your reaction is to come up. If somebody's pushing your head down, you want your head to come up. You're just gonna, your instinct. See, you just getting thrown down like that. You can see Merasola's face right here. He's like, hey, I gotta come up. Right? And here Brooks doesn't initiate any attack. He lets him come up. And he's like, get back down there. But this time, right, he tries to come up again. Right? It's like he observes his reaction, like, okay, he's just gonna come straight up. So when he comes up, he's already on the legs. And it's too late. Right? There's no real defensive possibility here unless you're quick as a cat. So that was just a beautiful setup. And suffice it to say that Brooks is in his prime.
Such high level wrestling going. Oh, nice. Wow. Really well done.
Yeah. Very nice. So anyway, let's get into this whole prime discussion, right? So, right, and boxing is where you hear it come up a lot too, right? Like, so let's talk about a popular fighter that everybody knows about, right? Like Mike Tyson, right? And you say, when was Mike Tyson's prime years, right? When were his best years, right? So what do we mean when we say prime? Prime, we would say, right, or best years athletically.
Terrific uppercut.
Now, in my mind, I would say that his prime is probably between 1985 and the Michael Spinks fight, right? 1988.
Tyson not afraid, as we expected, and Spinks ready to mix it up with him. Tyson along the ropes doing damage.
Michael Spinks has to keep moving because every shot.
Uppercut landed inside, and Spinks went down.
Spinks has ever been down in a professional fight.
And he's down again,
He's not going to make it. It's all over.
This is after Spinks got up after one knockout, tried to fight back, and had nothing. This champion.
Another thing, Jim, is when a guy gets knocked out for the first time, you never know how he's going to.
To me, that was the best Tyson we saw. 88, right? 85, yes, we saw like athleticism on display, right? Of course, against lesser known fighters, right? Fighters that might have not been good, but we saw the peak physicality on display, right? But by 87, 88, 86, 87, 88, we saw the mastery of this peekaboo style. We saw that on display against world champions, right? Against the Pinklon Thomases of the world, experienced boxers, against the Trevor Berbicks of the world, right? Against Larry Holmes, right? Even though Larry Holmes was old, and against the Spinks Jinx, Michael Spinks. And then after that, we saw the decline, which is all recorded in history of, you know, him losing to Buster Douglas, going to prison, losing 3 more years, like that, and then coming back and then just not being the same, where we could say, yeah, this guy has exited his prime. But I want to speak about something that I don't ever hear really spoken about, and it's that the very simple idea of why, you know, it's a very, very simple idea of about advancement, right, of the technology and advancement of the athlete in general. Okay, now what do I mean? Let's take, for example, this David Taylor, right, and Aaron Brooks, right, going back to wrestling. In fact, I'll put that on right now, right? David Taylor, known as the Magic Man, right, is you know, great legend, Penn State, and he's probably, well, until he lost to Brooks, he's a very dangerous wrestler, right? Is he still in his prime? I think he's very close to it, but he's getting older too, right? Just like Jordan Burroughs, just like Kyle Dake. That's like the new generation is knocking on the door, right? The new generation is knocking on the door. So Kyle Dake, right, held on, right? He beat Jason North. He's still very good, but some of the older lines, got knocked off this time around. David Taylor, Jordan Burroughs, right? Now, would I be wrong in saying, hey, David Taylor is past his prime? Now, personally, I don't think David Taylor is past his prime, but that's just my personal opinion. So please get in the comments. I think that if David Taylor had won, he'd probably be one of the favorites to get gold again. There's only 3 American wrestlers in history that have 2 gold medals in wrestling. I don't know. I can't name all 3 of them right off the top of my head. I know one of them is John Smith, because he won in 88 and 92. He's a legend, and I can't think of there's one more like that's kind of recent. Maybe like Bruce. I think Bruce Baumgartner or somebody like that. And forgive me if I'm wrong. Please put them in the comments if you know who they are. I think, but John Smith is definitely one, and I think one of them is Bruce Baumgartner, and then there might be some guy from way back in the black and white days, like early 1900s or something. But I can't remember his name. And I think Baumgartner won in 84 and 88 Olympics. So I think David Taylor is definitely still in his prime, in his best years. But a lot of times when a guy is getting older and loses, right, the first thing people want to say is, oh, Father Time has finally is caught up to X YZ athlete, right? Father Time is undefeated. And of course we all know this is true, right? This is why you don't see 60-year-old NCAA champions, right? Oh, look at that, here it is right here in the David Taylor match. There you go. George Maynard, 1904, 1908. See, that's why I call it the black and white era. Yeah, Bruce Baumgartner. There we go. Okay, 84 and 92. So, wow, that's impressive, right? Because he, 88 Olympics, he didn't get in 88. So 8 years later, he came in and won it. But, so, anytime somebody loses, it's like, oh, Father Time is caught up to them, right? Especially when they're older. At 35, 36, it's like, oh, Father Time. Like, for instance, Jordan Burroughs just lost, right? He was defeated by Jason North. It's like, oh, Father Time is caught up to Jason Burroughs, right? I'm sorry, Jordan Burroughs. So I've fallen victim to this too, because first thing I look at is, oh, Jordan Burroughs is 35, 36. Father Time has probably caught up to him. Another thing too that we do have to acknowledge is the eye test, right? We know if we've been watching an athlete long enough, we know we can see how explosive they were, right? Or how fast they were at a given time. And we notice like, okay, they probably lost a step, or they're not as quick, right? Or at least they don't look, again, this is all subjective, right? They don't look as quick, you know? But if we look at it a different way, is it possible that they are as quick, but the other guy is faster than they are? Right, the new generation, the new athlete is just faster. Like, that guy hasn't lost a step. It's just the guy that he's facing now is faster, right? Or is a little quicker, a little stronger, right? See, we often don't look at it that way. We look at it the other way. We're like, oh, this guy lost a step, or he lost speed. Now, of course, it happens. So don't get it twisted and make it. I don't want you to think that I'm saying guys don't lose a step or they don't get slower, right? This is definitely noticeable in baseball, right, with bat swing, because again, that's measurable. You can see, oh, this guy, he doesn't swing the bat as fast, right? Things like that. Okay, but it's just something. It's something to consider, that the newer guys coming up, right? The training is better, right? The nutrition, is getting better, right? As more is known about the body, right? There are more advancements, right, on how to process food, what to eat, all these supplements, things like that. And players, athletes are getting faster and stronger. So it's possible that a guy could still be what he was back in 2014 as far as his speed, his quickness, and things like that, but just the newer guy is just a step ahead of him now, and now it looks like he's lost a step when he might not have really lost a step. And the final point I want to make about this is that another thing to consider is that sometimes you got to realize that when an athlete has been around a long time, right, he's been around 5-10 years, right, especially in this new era of social media and everything being on video, right, it's easy now to see what a guy is doing, to check out his game, to analyze strength and weaknesses from video. This isn't the VHS era where you got to get some grainy video footage sent to you in the mail, and you can say, oh, okay, this guy likes to, he likes to do, blast doubles from this position, or he prefers high crotch, stuff like that, right? Now you can get video of every single match the guy has and analyze. So these younger wrestlers in this case, just imagine like Aaron Brooks, he's probably seen tons and tons of footage on David Taylor, right? Just because David Taylor has been around so long. So David Taylor's not gonna be able to easily get an ankle pick on Aaron Brooks, right? It's gonna be very hard, because Aaron Brooks probably knows David Taylor better than David Taylor knows David Taylor. It's just because the information is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. It's just like Michael Jordan, right? Kobe Bryant pattern his game exactly after Michael Jordan.
Gets the scoring underway. Now Jordan from long range.
Bryant, now 13.2.
The big chipper, P.J. Brown, coming up. 6 offensive boards. And Michael Jordan.
This game may have been the most complete effort I've seen from Vladimir Radmanovic since he arrived. He didn't disagree, and there.
Bulls have a fresh shot clock. Jordan, the quick release.
Try to get it in the inside in some fashion.
Kobe freed up. Man.
Jordan again. I mean, you talk about stopping.
And he's 4 for 4. Bryant 4 on the shot clock line. Drive.
Wilkins got here. He has changed the entire roster. Mookie Blaylock is the one remaining player who is here. Michael Jordan for
goal here in this second quarter here, the bench, so they have not gotten into any rhythm. And Kobe, that's that sweet spot.
They've never led by less than 7 since early in the first. Now they do for the first time in a while.
Off the deck, Kobe trying to get home, and on the phone.
Right, Kobe Bryant grew up in an era where the videos were accessible, so he could just watch Michael Jordan do a fadeaway jumper over and over and over, and then go out and practice the video. Right, you can even take the laptop out to the basketball court and look exactly, and look and follow exactly the moves Michael Jordan did and the positioning on the court, and just do it over and over and over. And that's the same thing that happened in NBA. I want you to go back a few years and remember when we first seen this explosion in 3-point shooting with Steph Curry. Steph Curry is probably the greatest shooter of all time. And new NBA fans too, get in the comments. I'm gonna say he's the greatest shooter I ever seen. Greatest pure shooter. Before him, there were great 3-point shooters, right? You had the Ray Allens of the world, you had the Reggie Millers of the world, right? But back in the days, right, we're talking about pre-2015 or so, right? Going back, the 3-point shooters usually needed, like some type of pick and roll, or they needed to be open, right? A spot up 3, right? They needed to be like, they needed some room to shoot that 3. At least a second or something like that to get that 3 up. And it's fine. And we said, wow, these are great 3-point shooters, right? Then Steph Curry comes along, and it literally looks like he's just tossing the ball up. Basically, soon as he touches the ball, he's just catching. It's almost like he wasn't even gripping the ball. It was like he was catching it and just tossing it from 3 and getting it into the basket, right? So he was like the only one doing it like that, for a number of years, right? So it was just incredible. Like, what is going on, right? Now, fast forward today. How many guys are shooting the ball like Steph Curry, where they literally getting the ball and just tossing it and it's going in? And this is because of the era that we live in, right? There's no secret technique that, a player could hold on to, right? Or even a fighter for that matter could hold on to as its own and use it over and over, where nobody can really find the secret, and he can dominate for decades and years because nobody has the video footage. Nobody can really analyze it from what he's doing. His opponent, right? The first time he's seeing the technique is during the actual battle itself, right? The actual fight, and he has no time to adjust to it, right? It's brand new, right? This was said also in jiu-jitsu. It used to be where the techniques, one school would have a technique, and a different school would specialize in different techniques, and people wouldn't know. It was like new things would come. You get to a tournament, somebody will whip out something, from half guard position, on some kind of sweep or something like that, and it was like, whoa. People get surprised, and a lot of these high-level practitioners were able to use these techniques in tournaments for 2-3 years before the general jiu-jitsu community caught on to the technique. Now that's a no-go. Soon as the technique is used, soon as we see it on the national stage, it's all over the world. It's on Twitter, it's all the platforms, and it's there for everyone to study and get a hold of it. And this is what happened with us, the Steph Curry phenomenon. Now all of these guys coming out of college, right, are able to shoot, just throw up those threes just like Steph Curry. There's like a whole bunch of Steph Currys now in the league, right? Steph Curry is 35. So just think of how long he's been doing it. There's a whole bunch of Steph Currys in the league. Another example I'll give you with basketball is just think about the big men, right? Again, pre-2015, right? You didn't really have a lot of big men that were dangerous from the outside, like a Kevin Durant, somebody like that, right? All of these guys that can play inside and shoot from threes, right? You know who the prototype for that was? Right, it was a guy from Dallas Mavericks, Dirk Nowitzki. He was like the first 7-footer I remember that was consistently dangerous from outside. Right, it was like an anomaly if you saw a guy from 7 foot shooting long range 2 or 3-pointer. It was like a fluke, right? A team would have to be up by 20 points in the fourth quarter, right? Say like the Lakers or something with the Shaq, and then Shaq took a 3. You know what I mean? It was like a gimmick almost.
What?
But yeah. So Dirk was like the first guy I remember that was like 7 foot and dangerous from the outside. Again, fast forward 2024, that's commonplace. So this is what I mean when I say these things aren't. This is the part that is not really accounted for when we mention, this guy, is out of his prime, or Father Time is caught up to him, is such and such. Again, this is a situation where both things can be true at the same time. Yes, Father Time is gonna catch up to all of us eventually, so that's a given. However, the argument that I'm saying is, doesn't mean that at that particular moment, just because this player or this wrestler or athlete has lost the match, right, did Father Time catch up to him? Or is it just that the younger athletes, right, have had time to study, right? Because if you're a young athlete, right, how many of those players grew up watching Steph Curry and then they mastered what he does, right? So you see him heads up on Steph Curry, or even a shut down Steph Curry, you could say, Father Time is catching up to Steph Curry. It might not even be that so much. It might be more or less that the guy has studied Steph Curry's moves for 10 years, right? Through wear and tear. Then you put the increased general knowledge of the sport, right? There are no secret moves anymore. Everybody knows everything as soon as it comes out, right? Then you have the younger, hungrier players, right? They're already coming in with something that it took you years to master. They're already coming in the league with that because, again, it's on video and it's for the whole world to see, right? For instance, here, Jordan Burroughs, right? Is he past his prime? I think so in this case, but again, is it like a major decline? I don't think so. I just think that the younger wrestlers know what he's gonna do, right? They've seen him so much that they're prepared exquisitely, for him. There's so much tape, there's so much information, and that's one of the downsides for hanging around for a long time, right? Unfortunately, is that there's going to be so much tape, so much information on you that people are just going to be able to prepare in general. Whereas the young guy, right, like the Aaron Brooks, right, the only thing on him is what he's done in NCAA level, right? They didn't see Aaron Brooks at the world level yet. Aaron Brooks is still incorporating things in his game, still incorporating techniques into new stuff, right? He hasn't settled like, okay, this is my game. He hasn't settled yet. He's still on the uptick. prime is one of those things that's it's not as easy to define, you know, especially when it comes to sports, right? Because it's so easy to judge by result. This guy lost, he's older, therefore he's past his prime, and it's not always like that. This match right here, a wrestling match between Kyle Dake and Jason North, again, Kyle Dake is older, but he won. So is Kyle Dake still in his prime? So it's just some things to think about. And I know the video was a little rambly. If you made it to the end, man, you know, I'm happy for you. I don't really have any other, you know, any rewards or anything like that. I'm just happy that you listened, you know, to some dude rambling on. But I hope, you know, give you something to think about, you know, even if it's just a distraction. But yeah, hit that thumbs up, you know, and so the video can spread. Let me know what you think in the comments about, you know, prime, you know, people being, and not Deion Sanders, but, you know, being in the prime, and what your definition of prime is, or, you know, if you disagree with what I said, you know. But you know, that's my you know, output, you know, as far as that thought is concerned. And I will see you guys hopefully on the next video.